Blog Talk Radio.
Good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the 90 Degree Show, brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service to you today. Thanks for listening. Today is July 8th, 2012, 3 o'clock on the West Coast, 6 o'clock on the East Coast. Thanks for listening. Now, today is a special edition of the 90 Degree Show. We are going to recap the Jackson High School Trumpet Clinic hosted at Jim Hill High School in Jackson, Mississippi. We are honored and extremely humbled to have the great Marice Bailey here with us to tell us what happened at the clinic. Marice is from Jackson and went to Provine High School and marched in the sonic boom of the South, Crab of 1994, the great Crab of 1994, and the great Crab class that was. Marice brought me into the fold, and I actually met Marice my senior year in high school. The St. Louis alumni chapter of Jackson State University brought some students to St. Louis to talk to us, and I remember he had a Trump Funk jacket on. I still remember that to this day, and as they say, and as I say all the time, the rest is history. So please call in and talk to Marice today at 718-664-6025. That's 718-664-6025. You can email the show at themarchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at marchingpodcast. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk to Marice. What's going on, Marice?
I'm doing great, man. I'm blessed. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for being on the show today, and I really appreciate it. A friend and a mentor. I learned in life that surrounding myself with good people is the key to success, and definitely glad that I, and I'm sure that everyone else in the Royal Order of Trump Funk can vouch for the type of person Marice is and his character, especially while we were there at Jackson State, amongst all the ignorance, as they say. So I appreciate it, man, and it's really good to talk to you, too. I haven't talked to you in a while myself. So let's get right into it. Now, you're from Jackson. Now, where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Provine High School.
Okay, Provine. And you graduated 1994?
Yeah, I graduated in 94, and when I got out, of course, just like other aspiring musicians, I had about 3 or 4 different colleges with, full scholarships to go to, playing trumpet.
I heard that. So you ended up going to Jackson State. What made you pick Jackson State amongst the others?
I believe it was just the atmosphere down south, especially in a city like Jackson, Mississippi. Even though it is a capital city, it's one of those cities that's just engulfed with Jackson State University. Being the urban university for that particular area, the band was just the thing to watch. It was so exciting, and I think the excitement kind of caught me while I was there. And so when I graduated high school, I felt, it was other schools that I could have gone to, way more money, other universities that have outstanding programs like Alabama State University, Mississippi Valley State University, Alcorn State University. All of those universities had band programs that gave me a lot more money than Jackson State, but it wasn't about the money. It was really about the excitement and the quality of the program I was going to.
Definitely, and that's very, very important because you want to grow as a musician. So, like they say, money isn't everything. This is a special edition of the 90 Degree Show. We're talking the recap of the Jackson High School Clinic with Marice Bailey. Thanks for listening. Now, what was your major while you were at Jackson State?
I majored in English with a minor in communications while I was at Jackson State. Okay,
and why did you pick this major?
Well, initially I had plans of eventually going to law school. Still haven't ruled those plans out. It's just that after you get out of college, you simply, you have a lot of things that change up. After I got my degree, I ended up doing some teaching and a whole lot of other stuff that I was doing, besides doing my music on the side.
Right. Now, are you still teaching?
No, now I work for the state of Mississippi actually work with counseling ex-offenders.
Oh, okay, wow, that's definitely commendable, definitely. So I'm sure that your experience in the band and discipline and all that, I'm sure that made a difference now with the people that you're mentoring to. Just being, I know that excitement and the pressure being out there, I'm definitely sure that helps being in that environment. That's something, man. I didn't even know that that's what you were doing now. That's really great. So now, as you work as a musician on the side, what are you doing there?
I do clinics in and around the particular city, like the Jackson, Mississippi High School clinic that I started about 3 years ago. I also I sing with the Mississippi Mass Choir. I've been with them for, I believe it's going on about 13 or 14 years now. Alongside with the Mississippi Mass Choir, I also do a lot of little side studio work for a lot of groups, gospel groups that are around the area. Do a little background, just on the side. And I also am the praise and worship leader at my church.
Wow, that's great.
I do a lot of music on the side and in and around this area. And sometimes it takes me traveling abroad and traveling around the United States.
That's all right. That's getting that experience from helping. Good old community service, as they say. Definitely commendable. So I definitely wanted to get into the Trumpet Clinic today. I saw that you posted on Facebook and saw it was at Jim Hill High School. My father went to Jim Hill High School, so he was all excited when he saw it. Tell me, when was the idea born to have a trumpet clinic there in Jackson?
I was actually at a friend of mine that marched to the band. He's also a trumpet. His name is Martin Carradine. Martin majored in music. He got his bachelor's in music education. He clabbed the year before me in 1993, Jackson State University marching band. I go there every year for the Southern Heritage Classic. Some people may know about it, but it's a classic between Jackson State University and Tennessee State University, and they do it every year in Memphis. And to make a long story short, me and him were talking about some of the things that I've done over the years as far as behind the scenes kind of helping different trumpet players and helping the Jackson State University trumpet section out, literally behind the scenes, because I'm not really a forefront person. I like the people who are going to receive the knowledge and people who are going to use it to play trumpet. I like them to shine more than it is me shining about it.
Right.
So the idea came about because he was like, man, you ought to put this stuff in a book, man. It seems like you ought to do something with this information. You've been helping these guys all these years, and they've been excelling playing trumpet and doing these things on the horn for all these years. You ought to do something with it. So I came back home after I went up there for that particular weekend, and I just started writing, and I just started saying, you know what, I believe I can do this, because I work with a lot of young people. I work with youth at my particular church where I'm at, and I always have, been involved with certain things dealing with young adult youth. And I said, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to host a clinic and do something here in the Jackson area that I didn't have when I was younger. I can remember not ever having I didn't have anybody to give private lessons because my mother couldn't afford it, which if she could, I know she would have given me 3 or 4 lessons. But, how it's just, it just wasn't meet for her to pay money for that type of thing. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do a trumpet clinic, and I'm going to do it for completely nothing on it. I want it to be free. To every single high school student or middle school student that wants to come out and learn, I want it to be free for an entire week, and I want it to come from quality individuals who have degrees in that particular area.
Wow, that's something. And that was 3 years ago that you guys, I guess, like, was that the very first one that you had?
This year, the one we did at Jim Hill High School in Jackson, Mississippi, was the one this is our third one. We actually started 3 years ago, and the first one I did was at my high school, at Provine High School.
Okay.
Actually, I did that one in, I guess that was 2010 and 2011 we did. The summer we did another one at Provine, and then this year was the one that we did at Jim Hill. And the reason why I changed up from Provine is that I wanted to I have a lot of friends here in Jackson, Mississippi, and I wanted to kind of, take the clinic around the different high schools. I didn't want to be biased because I know a lot of band directors here that are my personal friends, and I wanted a chance to kind of take the clinic around the city to different high schools, So it would also help with those particular high school sections that are there for those band directors. So the clinic really does a whole lot for the students themselves, but it also helps the band directors and their individual programs as well.
Okay, yeah, I definitely, that was actually the next part I was getting into, like, how did you select Jim Hill High School? So it was at Provine the first couple of years, and then you switched to Jim Hill?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you know, well, I know that you knew a lot of people at Provine, but did you know a lot of the people at Jim Hill? Like, was it hard to change to this new venue for this trumpet clinic?
No, it wasn't. It was there were some things that we had to deal with that were things that were new that we had to deal with because that was our first time being there. And I do plan to do it. I do plan to do it again at that particular high school. I don't want to talk about the future plans yet. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But what I want to do is I still want to take the trumpet clinic itself around to the different high schools because that's like a vision of mine that I want to do. Because I have so many friends, I don't want it to seem like I'm biased and just trying to do it at my high school. So I will eventually end up going to other high schools, like maybe Lanier High School, or plan on going to Callaway High School. All these high schools are in Jackson, Mississippi, and doing the clinics around the city because that's the vision of what I'd like to do with it.
Okay, that's outstanding. You're listening to the 90 Degree Show, brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Block Talk Radio, talking to Marice Bailey and recapping the Jackson High School Trumpet Clinic. So you got started at Provine. What was the very, very first thing you did? Did you call someone in particular, say, hey, man, I got this thing in my head? Other than Martin, what was the very, very first thing that you did to get the clinic going?
The very first thing that I did was I got in contact with my clinicians.
Okay.
I'm blessed to have a lot of good friends, and I can't take any credit for it. I give it all the credit in that area to God. I have different friends from over the years that I've known that have marched in Jackson State University's trumpet section, and because it's one of those clinics that I wanted to be able to give back to the youth in Jackson because I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. I wanted to get some clinicians that were from Jackson, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. Number two, the criteria was to make sure I got some clinicians who were former leaders in the Jackson State University marching band right there in Jackson, Mississippi. And the third thing was I wanted to make sure I had some clinicians that were actually degreed in music education. So I ended up calling my clinicians first to see, what their schedules would be in the month of June, trying to get some feedback from them, and they ended up giving me real good feedback. And so I was able to, my clinicians that first year was, all these guys were former Jackson State University second leaders. Duran Thickpen from Jackson, Mississippi. I had Gabriel Cooper. He's from College Station, Texas. He was a second-generation trumpet section guy because his brother, Bradley Cooper, marched in the band also. I also had people who had degrees like Curtis Luckett Jr., who marched in the band with us when we were in the band back in the late 90s. And when I called those guys, all of them were like really, really, they were really, really excited. So what I did was, once I got with them and they said they could do it, I picked my date, which was in June. Then the easiest thing was to call the band director that's there, which the band director is there at Pearline High School, Mr. Carlton Williams. He actually is a guy that marched in the band with us also.
Wow. So
it was kind of easy to get together because I have good friends that trust me and know me, and they know if I put something together that I'm going to make it work with their help.
Right. Now, was it only for high school students? Was there a minimum age to be a part of the clinic?
Initially and now also, it is set up for young people who are coming out of middle school, so that means 8th graders passing to the 9th grade, all the way up to college freshmen or people who have graduated from high school and going on to college.
Okay.
The reason why I set it up I'm sorry.
No, please, go ahead.
The reason why I set it up like that is because I wanted to make sure that I covered every single inch of every single because it is a high school clinic, I want to cover every single inch of high school students. So whenever we get to clinic, I always have a clinician that was directly targeting the middle schoolers that were coming out of high school. So I had to do it separately. I had to do one clinic, but I had the middle schoolers doing one thing and I had the high schoolers doing another, so that we can catch up the middle schoolers to what the high schoolers might have already had, and that we wouldn't have people who are juniors in high school trying to lag behind with some of the 8th graders. Because to tell you the truth, some band directors, in middle school just don't do what they should to get the students prepared, and that's another reason why this clinic even started first.
Well, okay, Marice, we actually got a call here for you, man. Someone calling from the 302 area code. Well, welcome the caller in. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Oh, shit. Stop.
Hello?
Hello, I got a call from Mr. Joe Beard.
Hi, how you doing? This is Joe Beard. You're live on the Marching Podcast. You have a question for Marice Bailey?
Oh, I have a question for you, not for Mr. Bailey.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Shoot, sir.
Okay, I just want to know, how long has Southern been dominating Jack State band?
This sounds like a friend of mine. I'm recognizing the 302 area code. This is the great Curtis Williams. I'm not really sure about how to answer that question in relative terms to the Trumpet Clinic, but we appreciate you listening today, Curtis. It's a good friend of mine calling in. Thanks a lot. Thanks for listening, Curtis. But moving on, let's see. Now, we already said that you were trying to cover all aspects of high school students, and you were trying to make sure that they were moving along in the same level, and all of this was for free. Was there anything specific that you thought that all of everyone needs to know about playing the trumpet? Like, was there one particular thing that was very, 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 very important for these college kids or for these high school kids to know moving into college?
One particular thing that we tried to stress as far as fundamentals were concerned was knowing the chromatic register of the instrument, especially for the younger students. Then we definitely worked on going through all 12 major scales. The goal, even in the fundamentals that we worked on, was to try to make sure that these students have some of the fundamental things that they would need in order to go and audition. If they audition for all city band, if they audition for, down south you have the state Lions bands. And most importantly, and this is something that we stress to all our parents, because I really, really encouraged the parents to come out. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted the parents to see what was going on. They could sit in the clinics if they wanted to. And, in this day and age, you want parents to be comfortable with where they're sending their children to, especially if they're dropping them off. And I'm one of these people that I like to be involved with the parents so the parents can see what we're doing and they can help to spread the word to know that not only is this a free clinic for your child to come to, not just to just get them involved because they have nothing to do, but we're teaching them different basic skills on the trumpet and trying to give them information so that when they get ready to audition for scholarships for college, when they go off to try to be in a band, they would have the necessary things that they need and be able to not only know what they're going to be able to play, but also know how to play it. And therefore, it'll help the parents in the long run as far as cost for college. So I really, really start off with those basic things, and then we move on into some of the more difficult things too to make it challenging for them.
So it sounds like that not only you were concerned about them actually playing the horn, but definitely like a community type of atmosphere, and definitely you say you were open to the parents coming in so they would know what was going on with their children.
Exactly.
Wow, that's outstanding. So was it geared to like a specific ensemble? Was it like marching band? Was it jazz? Was it all? I guess did it try to cover all ensembles?
It did. It basically covered all ensembles, and that's the reason why we have different clinicians. You had, and I really set it up to where I wanted to be to the point where I wouldn't even have to be a clinician. I just like to coordinate and really let the clinicians that I know or people that I know who are I'm talking about well qualified to do it, to give their insight on what they do in playing the trumpet. It really wasn't really geared toward a specific ensemble because it was all about playing the trumpet. And we also had a question and answer session for them. We had one clinician who was going to warm them up. I just basically let the clinicians bring their own piece. Most clinicians used Auburn Book, which is the Bible for trumpet players. Certain passages out of there, I had some clinicians who just worked on breathing concepts and things that trumpet players can do with air velocity exercises. We also went through, and then we go through this every year. We also go through talking about how to hold the trumpet, how to clean the trumpet, what do you do with problems, how do you fix embouchure problems, even problems that deal with the aperture. We went through talking about situations, all trumpet players look at the trumpet as being, this instrument that I can play really, really high. Going through trying to get the understanding into them throughout every clinician. We're just trying to tell them, look, it's a soprano instrument, but we want you to know how to play it first. I always relate to them like it's like driving a car. You start off driving a car. Anybody can get in and push the gas down real fast and go fast. But if you don't know how to drive, you're going to hit something. And so I use an analogy with those young people, telling them, look, I always say I can teach my grandmother how to get on the trumpet and play one high note. And she's done her job. She's never played trumpet before. But you can't just get on a trumpet and just think I can just play a high note next hit and not know how to play the instrument itself. So trying to get them to understand that even though the car is made to drive, just to get in and push the gas is not just it. The same as the trumpet is made to play soprano notes, but just to get on there and just play a high note here and there is not just it. You have to know how to drive when you get in the car, just as you have to know how to play the trumpet, musically when you pick it up.
That's outstanding. Now, did you receive any feedback over the last 3 years, like repeat campers or anything from anyone else that has started to support you in the clinic now?
Yes, I had I had feedback from some parents, and some of the students were repeat campers. Some of them that started out in the first year. Some of them may didn't come last year, but they did come this year back to the clinic. Basically, what I like to do for those that are older, if I know that they're going to go off into college, because some of them, it's the Jackson, Mississippi area, so some people that come out of high school, they automatically go on into Jackson State. Some of them will go on to other colleges, but what I would try to do is try my best to prepare them as much as we can in that week that we have for college preparation. Some of the guys would continue to call or text afterwards, or what do I do to improve this, and how do I improve my tone on the trumpet? I ask different things like that. Should I change my mouthpiece? What's the best mouthpiece to have? Things of that nature. And so that in itself is good feedback. And also, you know, when I have some young people that come there and they're going into college, if they complete their entire week of the clinic, I do whatever I can to try to get in touch with the people that I know and contacts I have at different historically black colleges and universities. And most of them go to Jackson State. Every now and then we get extra people, you know, some people that might go to another college, you know. But if they go to Jackson State, because I'm using, you know, most of the time I'm using the former Jackson State second leaders, I'm able to get them music beforehand. I'll get in touch with someone who's I guess you can say a band manager or someone that's up at the school, and I'm able to get them some music so they can have it for the entire summer, and that give them, you know, a little 2.5-month head start on the other people who might be coming in for band camp, you know. And I'm also capable of doing that for other historical black colleges too, you know, when I get in contact with some people that are there, get them to send me some music. So it's really helpful to even the students who are coming out of high school and going into college.
Let me ask, so we're getting towards the end of the show. It's been really informative, and I'm really, really glad that you're doing this. But I want to know, and I'm sure the listener wants to know, how we can get involved. What is something that we can do to help, or is there anything out there that anyone can do to continue the success of the Trumpet Clinic?
I am one person that believes in public relations and advertising. I believe that is one of the best things that you can have as far as a clinic that we're trying to do. You know, I want to really get the word out and get people involved. Actually, my future endeavors is to take it from Jackson eventually and take it to another big city. I was thinking about taking it to Memphis next and doing it in the city of Memphis, Tennessee, for those high schools there, because I have connections up there where I have a few people that marched in the band with us at Jackson State University that, you know, that have students up there that they would like to get exposed to some of this information and some of the things that we have. You know, get to the point where I take, because of my clinicians up there, we go up there for like a day or two and actually do some real good working with those students up there. I think the best thing for the listener to do is to just do word of mouth and to really, really get on the social networks like Twitter and Facebook and really, really start sending that stuff out to your followers and the people who are your friends, because it'll start to get, you know, it'll get to the point where most people will start talking about it. Most of those young folks that I was invited out to the clinic, they were people who were on Facebook, on Twitter, and I got them to passing the word along, and the word goes faster these days through social networks than it would through anything. So anybody who is out there that wants to help, I even feel like even going to the point that if you are a trumpet player or you are a brass instrument player in another city and you want to start one of these, I'd be more than happy to get with you, to give you all the different things that you would need and tools and the people that you would want to get in contact with in order to start one. I told the clinicians that I have working with me that everything that we do with this clinic is going to be a community service. And, you know, you have some clinicians that, you know, that kind of say, well, I want to get paid this time. I'm like, well, man, this is not the clinic for you. This is a clinic that's going to give you fulfillment, you know, out of you helping young folks, you know, giving them information that, you know, that you didn't even have, you know, maybe when you were younger. So it's definitely a community service thing, and I think that anybody who wants to start one anywhere all over the United States should do it if they have the information. If they're not using it, you know, physically on the trumpet anymore, you can still pass that information on to young people who are coming up today.
Well, that's outstanding. I really appreciate it. I know that, you know, hopefully through this radio show we can eventually start generating some money for scholarships, and you could come out here to California and start talking to some high school kids out here. Just to wrap it up, could you go ahead and give the listener your contact information, anything else that you want people to get a hold of you with to wrap up the end of our show today?
The first thing I want to say real briefly was to Mr. Curtis Williams, who's the person that called in. I see he's a very, very good supporter of Southern University, but even though you're a Southern University band, you know, I'm not going to talk about him. I have some friends that went there. But the trumpet sections at Jackson State have been blowing on them for years and years and years, and any YouTube video will prove it, sir. My name is Marice Bailey. You can reach me at maricebailey@yahoo.com. That's my whole name, MariceBailey, no caps, at yahoo.com. You can also reach me on Twitter, if you like. On Twitter, I'm the most realist, DAMOESTREALIST. All right, and you can reach me here. You can reach me here in Jackson. And my number is 601-566-8632. You can call me on that number any point in time or text me, and I will answer.
Thanks a lot, Marice. Thank to God. Wish you much success in the future. Check out our blog at blog4.themarchingpodcast.com. That's blog4.themarchingpodcast.com. We hope you like what you heard today. Like us on Facebook. Thanks to you for listening, and remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time.